everyone. This is Norman Kochnek here on Extra Time. As VJ moves forward towards the screen, I can see him getting a better position there. I'm joined by some very illustrious guests, in particular Norman Kochnek. Oh, I shouldn't be mentioning myself, should I? Leave me out, of course. Okay, the esteemed young-ish gentleman, Vijay Lokapalli. Nice to have you again, Vijay.
Yeah, hi.
That's not a very nice welcome.
Hello, Norman. How are you?
That's
I
better.
love your cap. I love your background, and I love your anchoring because you're so very well prepared. And sometimes you make me very, very nervous.
That was a bit too much, but I'll accept that. Thank you. Okay, Siddharth Vishwanathan has joined us.
Yes.
An esteemed journalist of great repute. He happens to be, I think he's in Switzerland. He's on the ski fields of Switzerland. You've got this snow background. I'm not sure. Are you in Switzerland?
No, it's just the backdrop of my wall at home. I wish I was in Switzerland.
We did it in warm-up. You're supposed to say you are in Switzerland. You blew it. Oh, doesn't matter. All right.
My thin clothes gave it away, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Siddharth Vishwanathan, I almost called him G. Vishwanath, the famous Indian batsman, because Tabasa has been promising me a famous batsman, so I almost thought you were him, but you prefer to be called Siddharth Vishy. Or is that? I think that's a bit fishy, though, Siddharth Vishy. I'm not sure about that. We'll have to see. And last but not least, we've got Gurukhat Gill, as in Singh Gill. And now he has been. Have you been on before? He represents the Bharat Army. The Bharat Army are a true force on this channel. We're so privileged to have them here. The greatest fan base, not only in India but around the world. And I think you're the pin-up boy, aren't you, Gil?
Yeah, it's my second appearance here. Very happy to be back here. I was earlier here when we were discussing the Rajasthan Royals game again, but that was against Punjab. And now today to discuss a game which includes my favorite team. So yeah, very happy to be among such esteemed panel. Can never have enough of talking cricket. I mean, that is something that I can do 24/7. Probably would have done it 48/7 if days were 48 hours long. So yeah, always up for this.
Heaven help us if it was 48 hours long, we'd be in real trouble, wouldn't we? Yes, Vijay.
I have to admit that I've grown old because I could not recognize my dear friend Siddharth. My God. I was wondering Siddharth, and he's put Vishy, and how have you been, Siddharth?
I've been luckily good. I mean, despite all the coronavirus things, luckily I've been in a good space, surviving every day, and right now I'm in an esteemed panel. What more can I ask for?
We are happy to have you. Yes,
same here.
Yeah.
It's so warm and fuzzy, isn't it? I love this. Very nice. But I must say, in Sydney, Australia, where I'm from, it's actually a little bit chilly today, which is quite surprising for an April day. Now, we are here to talk about really one of the powerhouses in this 8-team competition. That's Delhi Capitals. There's a lot to be said about them. Okay, they've lost Norjay through the coronavirus at this point. I'm not sure whether he's out for the entire tournament or just a 2-week period. We'll wait and see. But Rabada should be back today. Rishabh Pant is there. They've got Rahane. They've got a truckload of great players. Certainly a force to be reckoned with. After having seen all the teams play now, I have to admit, Gil, I'm a little bit disappointed with the Rajasthan Royals. They need to get their act together today. They've had a massive blow losing Ben Stokes, certainly as a massive blow. They've still got Josh Butler there, but Ben Stokes was quite critical. Rajasthan Royals have got a lot of potential, but they're coming up against a powerhouse today in Delhi Capitals, and it's going to be concerning about how the game goes. I think if Delhi want to assert themselves as a true leader of this competition, this is the day to do it, and I think they're in position to do so. We saw RCB win yesterday. Amazingly, how on earth did they win that match? I don't know. They really weren't in a position to win it with only 152 runs. Yeah, only 142 were scored against them. So it was quite a concern to see that result go the way that it did. I think it's Sunrisers Hyderabad have got a lot to do as well, haven't they? Their batting lineup, they've got a Ridham and Saha has to go. I'm sorry, you have to bring in Beso to open and have Williamson in that second drop position. Vijay, what do you think about that? We talked about that before.
Oh, you
actually, didn't
said, yeah, you mentioned how did RCB win. I'm saying how did Hyderabad lose that game? I mean, it
we?
was
Exactly.
a perfect example. If a coach, if you have to tell a student that this is not how you play a cricket match, this was a fantastic example. I mean, Hyderabad, they make Williamson sit on the bench and then throw away a game like this. It's going to hurt them. I'm sure it's going to hurt them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Before we go to you, Gil and Siddharth, for your comments, before we go to you, Gil, there's something very important I have to talk about. It's our sponsor. We can't forget our sponsor. Now, we have a great sponsor joining us, My 11 Circle, one of the best apps you can get regarding the whole fantasy app situation. We see it on screen now. You can win 1 crore worth of rupees as a first prize, which is quite amazing. You can beat VVS Luxon. You can also get a chance to win 5 times the cash by way of doing that. Download this app now and get 1,500 rupees joining bonus to start off and a further 20% extra cash. Hurry and make your team now on My 11 Circle. And that's not a picture of me there, by the way, either. Siddharth, we're going to move over to you. I think this is. Oh, I thought that was Siddharth on the screen, and that wasn't Siddharth with the arm. That's actually there, right? All right, Siddharth.
I
And
wish.
we want your thoughts on this match. The match with Delhi Capitals versus Rajasthan Royals. What are your thoughts?
Heading into this match, Delhi Capitals are favourites in every department. They have depth, they have class in both the batting and the bowling. For Rajasthan Royals, the loss of Ben Stokes is like a huge void. And the bowling, again, it lacks that X factor with the absence of Jofra Archer. So when you look at both bowling and the batting, the depth that they have, Delhi Capitals are totally on top. Imagine the Delhi Capitals team are a team of captains. You've got Rahane, you've got Pant, you've got Smith, you potentially got Stoinis, you've got Ashwin. For Rajasthan Royals, Sanju Samson was the lone bright star and there were others. But how those 2 balls, Rajasthan Royals will be haunted by those 2 balls of misjudgment. Can you believe it? Chris Morris was no Chris Martin. Maybe Sanju Samson had a brain freeze. He thought, oh, maybe I'm batting with Chris Martin, not with Chris Morris. 16.25 crores. He could have gotten an inside edge. He could have gotten an outside edge for a boundary. He could have taken 3 runs, gotten the match into the super over. But no, he chose to just go for glory himself. That might haunt them. Delhi Capitals clinical. Pant, his captaincy was mentioned as very good by Shikhar Dhawan. So it's a continuation of that. Remember, it's the clash of the class of 2014 versus the class of 2016 in the under-19 setup.
Absolutely.
Pant will definitely want to put one over Samson. And Delhi Capitals are in a very strong position. They started off like how they did in 2020. I don't see them not repeating it again in 2021. The momentum is with them. Rajasthan Royals really, really hurt by the absence of 2 of their match winners. Remember, England's 2 ultimate match winners are with Rajasthan Royals. They are not there with them.
Well said. I love the animation. Very impressive, Vishy.
Yeah.
Now, but there's an interesting point, though. We talk about Pant's captaincy. His success as a captain will be leading by example, by him taking the charge, batting early, getting runs, and setting the scene. His way of motivating behind the stumps when he talks, brilliant. I think even though he's still somewhat raw in the captaincy role, the potential is endless. We may be looking at the next or future Indian captain in all formats. Very much so. Maybe not just yet. There's a bit of time to go, but he certainly is worthy of that attention. And we shouldn't overrate any player. I get that. But I keep saying he's not Adam Gilchrist. He's not the next Adam Gilchrist or the next MS Dhoni. He's the first Rishabh Pant. And that's what I stick by those words. Now, Gil, we've blown you away. We've been talking about Delhi Capitals only. But you know what would have helped you, Gil? If you would have had pictures of Samson on your wall, it may have changed the complexity of the way this match goes. You have to dedicate yourself. When I was young, I had a big picture of various cricketers on the wall. I had some famous female actresses as well, but that's another story. But the main thing is I had male cricketers there as well. Now, Gil, what's your thoughts on your Rajasthan Royals?
No, see, I agree. Losing Ben Stokes is a big blow, and it becomes a bigger blow when you couple it with the loss of Jofra Archer. However, the good thing is that Rajasthan do have the depth to make up for Ben Stokes' batting. There is David Miller and there's Leon Livingstone, so they can cover it up in the batting department, but they might struggle to sort of cover it up in the bowling department, and they really need Karthik Tyagi to get fit because he also missed the first game due to fitness issues, and they need someone like a Shreyas Gopal to take up the mantle. Because if you look back at the IPL around 2017, 2018, when Rajasthan made the playoffs, Shreyas Gopal had a very good season. He was foxing the batsmen left, right, and center with his googly and the mix-ups. But what I've seen over the last two IPLs, rather specifically the last IPL, is that he's gone through a route where he's just bowling those googlies, and he lacks complete control of those googlies. A lot of those googlies just end up as rank half trackers, which are dispatched to the boundary very easily. And he also didn't have a great game the previous night. So these are the players they would like to sort of take up the mantle, because if Shreyas Gopal doesn't deliver in the next 2-3 games, I have no doubt in my mind that a Mayank Markande is going to come into the 11 at some point of time, and there is pressure on Shreyas Gopal. Another thing that I want to add is, like you were discussing about the venue where Chennai, like the last two games in Chennai, where the team batting second couldn't finish off the games. So Wankhede and Chepauk are two extremes. I don't think any total is safe enough in Wankhede, as we saw the other night when Rajasthan nearly chased 220, and I don't think any total is sort of not defendable at Chepauk, because the pitch becomes slower and slower. It is very much like a fifth day track where the ball bounces, then waits for a day, then decides where I want to turn, and then reaches the bat. It is that difficult to bat over there. So I am low key enjoying this variation in the venues, because it provides you different set of games. I enjoy high scorers, but you just don't want high scorers. You just don't want 180, 190 games where you have a pattern set that whosoever will win the toss used to bowl first, and then whatever target is set, teams will chase it down. So this is something I think teams will have to figure out, that maybe the conventional method of playing T20s where you win the toss and choose to bowl first may not work at a ground like Chepauk, because the ball becomes considerably softer and the pitch becomes considerably slower. So these are the things I think which will add to the beauty of the tournament.
No, very well said, very well said. But do you think Samson can reproduce that century again? He needs to, doesn't
he? He definitely needs to, because he's also going to come up against probably a better bowling attack. Because another thing that would help Delhi, if you see that Rajasthan batting lineup, all those players are more comfortable playing pace. If you see a Joss Butler, if you see a David Miller, all of them enjoy pace on the bat. So the key for Delhi will be held by someone like Ravichandran Ashwin and Amit Mishra. Even though this Wankhede ground is sort of a graveyard for spinners, if you see the figures of the previous 2-3 games that have happened and historically, but the Rajasthan Royals batting lineup is such that the more pace you give them on the ball, on the bat, the more they'll enjoy it. So someone like Amit Mishra and Ravichandran Ashwin, with their experience, hold the key, because they are also not the kind of spinners who extract the purchase out of the pitch. They are more the kind of players who deceive it in the air, especially Amit Mishra. So these two bowlers are going to hold the key today.
Excellent. Now, I've also noted, the fact is we've got some changes to the squads because of the two injuries that we have. Shams Milani, the Mumbai's left-arm spinner and all-rounder, will be Axar Patel's temporary replacement until he recovers from COVID-19. And also Aniruddha Joshi, the Karnataka all-rounder, has replaced Shreyas Iyer. So that's an official inclusion to the teams. Shreyas Iyer was always not going to play. I'm pretty sure he'll actually be at the games, though. I think by the fourth match or fifth match, he'll actually start turning up, and he'll be a great encouragement for the team, despite not playing. So we don't have a Jofra Archer today. We don't have a Ben Stokes. But obviously we will have a Rabada, not a Norgay. I think Rabada's inclusion in the Delhi will be immense. That's a great firepower for them to be able to pull out, especially on the Mumbai pitches. That probably suit him somewhat better. I think it's a very interesting scenario, and also Livingston might be getting a Guernsey too, I'm assuming. Liam Livingston looks like he played well in Australia. Of course, I saw him play the BBL. He looked particularly good and looks like he could be a bit of a smoky and maybe a worthy replacement for Stoke. But you really can't replace Stoke, can you? Stokes, you can't replace Stokes, I don't think at all. I mean, there was consideration to call me up, but I'm too busy doing this show. I can't afford to be in two places at once. So that's one thing very clear. Okay, I've got that clear, viewers. Would you stop asking me in your commentary why am I playing high-level cricket? I know you've seen my videos. I'm impressive, no doubt, but no, I'm not playing. I made that clear. So just get that clear. Vijay, you're looking down at your notes. Are you cheating? Normally when you're in a classroom and people look down, there's some secretive notes going on there. But Vijay, you have got so many words of wisdom. I want to hear them all now. What are you feeling? What's your thoughts?
On the game, or Rajasthan Royals, or Delhi Capitals?
I was talking about my looks, actually, but we'll go to the game if you want. Talk about Delhi.
Yeah. I think both my young friends have described beautifully the strengths and the weaknesses of these teams, because, like I said the other day, they follow so closely. I marvel. My only thoughts is would it be a Samson versus Pant, as is being talked of? Both play very different roles. Captains, yes, but Samson will be coming at the top of the order. Pant has to come in the middle overs and then take charge right from the first ball. He doesn't get much time to settle down. You don't, in fact, in T20. But Rajasthan is going to miss Stokes big time. And if they can get in Livingstone, yes, they have to find a place for him. And Delhi is comfortable, like Gurkhirat explained. Ashwin and Mishra, probably a very lethal bowling pair. My only worry is that Mishra has slowed down in air and off the pitch. So how does he adapt quickly? We'll have to see, because he and essentially a googly. He has a very good googly. So for that he will need to be far more skillful than he has been in the last season. He hasn't where he didn't get many consistent games. So I expect Samson again. Yeah, he will have to play a major role. Not that he is the only batsman, but he's the leader, and he has the kind of strokes which I think on Chennai pitch, on even Rishabh Pant on Chennai pitch. See, your skill is calculated or understood by how you adapt. And Gurkhirat and Siddharth. I mean, I don't understand. You would let us know, why do you have to go for just the big shots? I mean, can't you play along the ground? If you play along the ground, you cut out one thing for sure, that you won't be caught, right? When you play the ball in the air, you're inviting trouble, and if you don't connect, these days fielders are so good. I mean, they're not going to let off opportunities. So why do they go for big shots? Look at Hyderabad, how they messed it up, and look at Kolkata, how they messed it up, just because they were trying to play big shots. So, but here, Delhi, I'm sure, and Rajasthan Royals, they are not going to make these mistakes. I mean, these mistakes tonight. I hope we get a good contest.
No, another thing. There's one thing that I want to add. So if you look at Manish Pandey's innings yesterday, he played 39 balls for 38. He had 4 boundaries in that, 2 sixes and 2 fours. So he essentially had 20 runs of 4 balls. But in the remaining 35 deliveries, he didn't rotate enough strike only. So yeah, sir has a good point that perhaps strike rotation could have been better, because it's not that SRH were not getting those boundaries. They had those boundaries, but someone like Manish Pandey just didn't rotate enough strike after hitting those boundaries.
Absolutely. The rotation of strike has been a critical issue for all teams. I think there's been a distinct lack of that. They're overwhelmed by strike rates. There's a consistent discussion about their strike rates, and it's really played on their minds to the point where they try to hit 4s and 6s more frequently to bring that strike rate up to a 200 mark. The fact is 130 is a good strike rate if it's crucial to the innings at that point, if it's crucial to create stability, to do a Williamson. And quite frankly, there are many batters that have got this side that have been knocked because of that. We've got to realise that some batsmen won't get that 200 strike rate, but they'll play a pivotal role by staying in there for the whole innings. I keep saying the top three batters, two of those top three or one of those top three has to last the full 20 overs, has to be there at the end. Teams that are in ascendancy should be winning 1 or 2 wickets down. Not unlike Pakistan did with Burrow, something like they were 1 or 2 wickets down when they passed the score. I want to see more of that. I think there's a consistent dismissal of 8 or 9 wickets down at the end of an innings. That's not a good sign. You should be like when Warner batted with his 50-odd runs, he should have been out there at the end. When Kohli bats, he should be there at the end. Where we're seeing that, only Samson has done that in a losing side, but only Samson's been one to do that. I think that's a very pivotal point.
And Norman, if you have to look at the early trends of IPL 2021 so far, the exception, if you have seen in Chennai in particular, the Kolkata Knight Riders vs Sunrise Hyderabad match, every match in Chennai, the team batting first or the team batting second have collapsed towards the death overs. This is proving to be an antithesis of the IPL. Normally, what would you do? You would go for broke in the death overs. But that is not happening so far in IPL 2021. Why did Kolkata benefit in the match against Sunrisers? Because they already got the platform in the first 15 overs, 145 for 2. They lost 5 wickets for 40 runs, but already the total was sufficient enough. When you look at, in the case of Kolkata versus Mumbai, the philosophy of the Kolkata Knight Riders batsmen such, big or bust. 31 of 30. How do you botch that up? The classic case was KKR versus MI. Andre Russell playing 2 overs of Jasprit Bumrah, you just hit him for 11 runs. You had 31 of 30. You didn't have 12 of 15 balls. Playing out Bumrah played into the hands of the Mumbai Indians.
Absolutely.
In Chennai, when the ball goes soft, in the death overs, both teams struggle, batting first and batting second. In Mumbai, that might necessarily not be the case. When the match progresses, it may be easier to bat. So that is the one dynamic teams have to adapt into it.
Absolutely. Well said. Very well said. I just think Mumbai, the pitchers of Mumbai will actually bring out the best in both teams. As they did previously when Rajasthan Royals batted, they got over 200. The Delhi Capitals, if they click today, heaven help Rajasthan Royals. I'm afraid we could be seeing a record score here. And I'm predicting that there's going to be some significant heavy batting early on. And as I said, one batsman, if not two, have to bat for the majority of the innings to show a true batting side, especially when they're batting second. All right. There's been some comments around if Rabada comes in, who's going out? Is it going to be Curran? Is it going to be Wokes, Hetmeyer, or the likes of Stones? Who will be the one to be left out on the basis of Rabada coming in?
I think it will be Tom Curran.
Tom Curran?
Tom Curran, because Stoinis had a brilliant IPL last time. He took 15 wickets, scored 350 odd runs. Chris Wokes has value with the new ball, as he showed in the previous game. And as far as Hetmeyer is concerned, he remains the only left-handed batting option in the middle order, apart from Rishabh Pant. And you need that if you consider you need that specifically against Rajasthan Royals, because they have 2 leg spinners. They have Rahul Tewatia and they have Shreyas Gopal. So if you are thinking from matchup points of view, then someone like a Hetmeyer does walk into the 11. So there's only one person who's left, and that is Tom Curran. And he also didn't have a great game last time around. Even if we forget that game, he really hasn't had a very good 2021 cricketing season. He's not been good enough for England also. He's gone for runs. He went for a lot of runs in that India-England ODI series also. His last 5 overs were costing England 60-65 odd runs. So I think it's a straightforward move where Tom Curran goes out for Kagiso Rabada.
Now, I have David Graven. I've got a show, of course, called Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kostak. On that show, we have David Gravening. Now, he was a former selector for the ECB, a very esteemed gentleman from the Gravening family. He was very close to the Curran family. He nursed them as young kids, and he himself had a lot of doubts about Tom Curran's form throughout the whole recent series against India and now into the IPL. He's definitely one that'll have to go, and I'm surprised he's there in the first place, to be really honest with you. But Sam Curran, we know his form has been magnificent and is an asset in the way he plays. I've just been given information that Lalit Yadav has been handed his cap for Delhi. So the all-rounder from Delhi, the bats right-handed and bowls off spin, looks like he's been given a berth today. Interesting. What do you know about Lalit Yadav, guys?
It's a very good move.
Yeah.
So just before the auctions, there was the India domestic tournament, which is the Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament, where you play T20 just in the same format that you play other Indian domestic tournaments, and he was very good in that. I think he finished up with a strike rate of 190. Does the finishing role, and what would help him that the Delhi side, which he was a part of in that tournament, were playing majority of their games at Wankhede. So he definitely can hit the long ball at the death, and apart from that, he can give Delhi those additional 1 or 2 overs that they might need. And I think he's also been drafted in probably to bowl at someone like Shivam Dube and Rahul Tewatia, take the ball away from them when they come into bat if the pitch allows for it. So yeah, I think if he might have come in for someone like an Ajinkya Rahane, because that is the only spot that you can tinker around with in that batting lineup.
Interesting, isn't it? Because it's a very bold move. It's very, very, very certainly not risky, but it's a very bold move bringing him in, and they're showing acceptance or understanding of a player that's played well domestically and giving them a berth. I think Vijay, you talked about that before, about the unearthing of domestic players coming through and the significance of that. Here's a great example of it. Amazing. India's nursery of domestic players is untold. I've already said that we've got to go back into India and divide certain portions and call them Australia, if you don't mind. But when I take some players and bring them to us, is that okay? I think that's acceptable. You don't need all that southern end. It's actually, the southern end's getting close to Australia. We'll just carve it off. We'll call it Australia North. I think that's fair. Vijay, what do you think that's fair?
Yes, it's very much. And I think it is just a reflection of the fact that there's so much talent available. But my only worry is that they're playing T20. You'll have to measure, you have to assess them when they play the longer form of cricket, maybe a 1 day, and it's definitely days cricket, whether it's a 3-day game, 4-day game, 5-day game. That is where you will really be tested, because T20 doesn't really. Look at the number of people who are getting to play so early in their domestic career. You play one season, and there you are in a T20 in one of those IPL games. So you will have to. Let us wait and watch Lalit Yadav. How he performs at this level, where he would be playing certain fast bowlers. He wouldn't have played that pace, I'm sure, in domestic cricket yet. And you get startled with the pace and the bounce and the skill factor of somebody who's seaming the ball well, who's swinging the ball well. So these are the factors when he will come to bat. And then, of course, when he bowls, he'll be up against a very, very strong batting lineup. Rajasthan has a good batting lineup. So Lalit Yadav, yes, good choice. But are we sure Rabada is playing today?
That Lalit Yadav is playing. Yes, he's received the cap.
Yeah, not Yadav. I'm talking about Rabada. We were discussing.
It hasn't been absolutely confirmed. It hasn't been absolutely confirmed yet. You're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has to come back. He has to be physically fit. He's come back from whatever quarantine, and then I don't know how much he has practiced to be match fit. But he's an asset if he plays the game. But let us first see if he's going to get a game tonight.
Well,
he was training yesterday, though. He was training yesterday with Delhi.
He won't be getting a cap today because he already has a cap. So we're not saying that. So that's my bugbear about caps. Giving out caps, we go into this massive conjecture. We go into a massive flap here as commentators, thinking, "Oh, a hat's been given out. Who's in the team?" I wish they would announce the same damn team when the hats are given out. That's when they should be doing it. That's my thoughts. I'll get off my high horse now. Rajasthan have won the toss, by the way, and have elected to bowl. So Rajasthan Royals have elected to bowl after winning the toss. Okay, so that's an interesting That's very interesting. All teams seem to be doing that, winning the toss and electing to bowl first, aren't they? Do you think that's the way you would go at Wankhede? Certainly Chennai, I'm thinking, but
I think yes. Yeah, I think. Look, the Wankhede wicket is truer than that of the Chepauk. It's no doubt about it. The first two games that we've seen, teams that chase, and I guess the dew factor in Mumbai is a lot more considering it's closer to the sea. Considering that, and it's more open, and the breeze comes through, so that is why I think chasing in Mumbai becomes easier. And if you look at it, any T20 match that you see, chasing has always been Wankhede's forte. You look at India versus West Indies, 2016 World T20, the semi-final. West Indies won by chasing. The world record chase, England versus South Africa. England won by chasing. Even in the IPL, the first two games, Delhi Capitals have won by chasing. Rajasthan Royals almost pulled it off. Almost. But Punjab Kings finally held their nerve and decided that they will not have a repeat of IPL 2020 heartbreak. So, yes, chasing is the norm at the Wankhede. I'm not so sure about Chepauk though. As I said, the ball just becomes softer. Teams struggle in the death overs. But here in Mumbai, the wicket is truer. I don't think the ball will go that soft. So that's why I think chasing will be the norm at the Wankhede. And this is the early season. Fresh pitch, more bounce, more true pace. As the season wears on, maybe it will change. So the first half of IPL, even in 2020, you saw teams that chased, dominated. After that, when teams started chasing, they started losing. So the early part might be chasing friendly. The next part might not be so chasing friendly.
Excellent. Excellent point. But does this mean that Rajasthan Royals will win today? Is that what you're surmising? Or you're not going that far?
Hope Sanju Samson keeps his head. Because he had done it brilliantly for 19.4 overs. For 39.4 overs, he had done whatever he could do. Those two balls, it shows. It's not over until the fat lady sings. Those two balls of misjudgment. Today, I hope he does it till the 40th over. I just pray. Because Rajasthan Royals, a good Rajasthan Royals makes this competition even more intense. If they lose two games on the trot, then it's like, okay, Sunrisers, you know who are your early trendsetters. It's RCB, it's DC, it'll be MI, as usual, losing the first game, but they bounce back. So they're assured of a sixth title anyways. So the meme has now changed. Which team will play Mumbai Indians in the final? Mumbai Indians will lose the opening game, but they'll reach the final. Which teams will scrap out to play Mumbai in the final? That's the trend.
Siddharth, that's also a bit presumption. Now, Vijay would be coming in now and saying it's too early to be saying, and I agree with him, because I'm saying Mumbai Indians will be in the top three, but I think Delhi Capitals RCB will be in the final. That, you know why? Because my crystal ball tells me that. When I shake it, I see RCB floating around and DC. Vijay, you try to look at my.
I am. You will break your crystal ball when DC wins the final.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, you will break that crystal ball because you will be proven wrong when Delhi Capitals goes on to win the final. But what I'm saying is that Siddharth's optimism that Mumbai Indians will reach the final. He's disregarding the semi-finals. Whether it will be there in the semi-final. So interesting. But Norman, if you can just get us the playing 11, that will be interesting.
Yeah, we're waiting on that now. It's not far away. It should be a second. Let me have a look. Yes, we have them. I'll go through them for you. Rajasthan Royals. Josh Butler will be opening with Manan Vora. Then you have Sanju Samson. David Miller is at 4. Dubey 5. Rian Parag is at 6. Chris Morris at 7. Rahul Tuatia is at 8. Unakat is at 9. 10 is, as we know, Chetan Sakaria, who played very well previous game. And Mustafa Rabin gets another go at number 11. So that's their team. It's I'm not too sure about that team. I'll go back in the middle. Now we'll go back to Delhi Capitals. Prithvi Shaw, Darwin, of course, are opening. Ajinkya Rahane is still in the team. He's batting at 3. Rishabh Pant at 4. Stoinis at 5. Lalit Yadav is at 6. Wokes, Ashwin. Rabada is playing. Tom Curran is in the side still.
Yes.
And Avish Khan. Now, I'm not sure about some of those selections for Delhi. I'm a little bit shocked, actually. I'm shocked that Tom Curran's in the side. So that implies Hetmeyer is out. And who was the other person? It was Hetmeyer is out.
Hetmeyer's
I'm
out.
not sure. Tom Curran, I'm not sure about. So Shimron Hetmeyer is out. Rabada's in. And Lalit Yadav is replacing Amit Mishra.
Pace-oriented bowling, if you look at both sides. More pacers, only very few spinners. So are they suggesting that this wicket is good for pace bowling?
Must be.
Yeah.
Must be.
No, Amit Mishra for Delhi Capitals.
That's a bit of a shock, isn't it? I would argue. It's quite a lead now. They're banking on the all-rounder taking his place.
I'm really not impressed with the 11 that has been put out, honestly speaking, because I understand the role that someone like Ajinkya Rahane has of probably arresting the collapse, but you are playing at the Wankhede. You know that the par score for the course is probably somewhere around 190, 200, which also may not be enough. So you have to go that extra hard. Having someone like Shimran Hetmeyer just purely for that makes much more sense. And if you see the matchups that are available in the terms of spin bowling options, then it makes all the more sense to have a Shimran Hetmeyer instead of an Ajinkya Rahane, because Ajinkya Rahane isn't also one of the best players of spin. And
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm really short of words at the 11 that has been put out. I really don't want to mince any words, but I'm really not impressed with the 11 that has been put out. I thought two changes would have been good enough. Kagiso Rabada coming in for Tom Curran and Lalit Yadav coming in for Ajinkya Rahane. Those have been the two changes, but I'm not impressed with Hetmeyer and Mishra being out.
Yeah, especially putting Tom Curran with the low confidence that he's got. I don't know what. I think Pant is seeing something that we don't know.
I think he makes the best coffee. That's all I hear about Tom Curran. Is he in there because I hope bloody not. Seriously, this is. I'm absolutely very disappointed with that team. As you're saying, I think that Tom Curran doesn't deserve to be there. Rabada should have come in as a direct replacement for him. Hetmeyer, too valuable. Hetmeyer could really be a very important player in that side, and I don't understand it. But we're better people than us have thought that. What do you think of the opening partnership with Josh Butler? Vora. Were you happy with that? You hear me, guys?
I think Manan Vora deserves one more go at least, because like we discussed previously, there isn't any other place where he can bat. So someone like him should open, and he has done well while opening in the domestic circuit also, and even whenever he's opened in the IPL. Definitely has the class, and Rajasthan would hope that he does well, because he's someone who likes space on the ball, will enjoy batting on this Wankhede wicket.
And not forgetting now that Rajasthan Royals has put Delhi into bat, correct?
Yes.
So Delhi's batting first. Very, very important that Delhi bat well and bat long, and I think Punt's ever so important. I'd even suggest having Punt at first drop, because I think Rahane, could be there if needed to stabilise the innings. But if they've got a good start, if the openers get off to a good start, you're going to have to see Punt going at first drop. Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Or anyone stood up. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think the basic thing is, if Delhi Capitals are 20 for 2, then it makes sense for Rahane to come in. But if they're 110 for 1 in the 12th over, then it makes absolute sense to get Pant up at number 3. Because you want to sustain the power momentum. You want to ensure that Delhi Capitals at least get to 190. But if you get Rahane in, okay, it's 160, 170. You're 20, 25 runs under par.
Absolutely.
So, looking at the situation, horses for courses in the batting, if Shaw and Dhawan get off to a great start, 100, 120 for 1 in 13 overs, get Pant at number 3. If it's 30 for 2 and it's like in the 5th over, then get Rahane in, build the grafting role, and build a steady partnership for Pant and the others, and Stoinis to finish off with.
The concern is that Delhi do lose that early wicket, let's say, and they put in Rahane, and they have a situation where they waste 5, 7, 8 overs with slow batting. It could be to the detriment of the whole momentum of the innings. Rahani's selection's a bit of a strange one to me in that position. I don't know. I would have put Hetmar ahead of Rahane for sure. For sure. I would not have taken him out. Anyway, we'll see how that pans out. So, very buoyed of Delhi going in with 3 foreign fast bowlers. So that's a pretty bold step, though. Except for Tom Curran, perhaps. That's still a pretty bold step. Chris Wokes, invaluable. Rabada, if fit, immense. Arish Khan proved himself in the first match. They've got 3 good bowlers there, but they do lack with Tom Curran. So it's a little bit early, but I want predictions for this match. Now, Gil, I'm going to go to you first because I think you're praying. Are you praying? I think you were praying that Rajasthan Royals is winning. Is that what you were doing there?
Yeah, I was praying that Tom Curran doesn't bowl at death. I was praying that he doesn't. I was praying that, and you know what Siddharth said, that if Delhi get a good start, then Ajinkya Rahane shouldn't come out to bat, because Ajinkya Rahane, T20s and Wankhede don't make for a great combo. I can still never get over his innings in the World T20 semi-final of 2016, where he played those 35 balls for 40 and said that he did the job. Yeah. Like I said, it's not a great combination, and it worries me a lot.
But
So,
Gurkirat, strike rates are overrated.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No, but we found that I think that is one statement all batsmen should stay away from, because when KL Rahul said that in the last season, he ended up with the lowest strike rate for any orange cap winner in 13 seasons. I mean, if you see, his strike rate was in that season was 129.34, which is less than 8 runs and over. Now, just think about it. Your best batsman, who's facing the most deliveries, is batting at less than 8 runs per over. It was to be very honest, it was inexplicable for me to understand how KL Rahul batted in the previous IPL. Someone like KL Rahul can bat at the rate of 9 runs per over without even breaking a sweat, and him batting that way, was very frustrating and then disappointing, because he was not realizing that his style of batting was letting his team down. I personally felt that, because if he was worried about the inexperience in the middle order, then he should have rather played at number 4 or number 5 and opened with a Prabh Simran Singh or a Mandeep Singh or even a Sarfraz Khan, which we see what Rajasthan is doing with having Josh Butler in the middle order, because they realize his need. So that is one statement I think all T20 batsmen should stay away from, because you may even joke about it, but if you are not able to score runs, then the whole media, all the fans, everyone is up with that statement to sort of tell you that probably this is where you went wrong.
I mean, let's be honest. Riddiman Saha, Pujara, Rahane. T20 solution? Not the case. I'm sorry. Vijay, you've been very quiet. I want to
No, I've been listening because see, cricket is a very funny game. For all you know, tonight you may have Tom Curran and Ajinkya Rahane performing and embarrassing us. So it's a
I'm
very
happy they embarrass us. I'm
it's
happy.
no, it's fine. It's fine. I agree with all these views. The only thing is, team management must have some plans to include these 2 players and give Lalit Yadav a match. I mean, look at how Unadkat comes in. Who would have thought Unadkat playing tonight? So he's back, left armer. Obviously, they've done some calculations. I expect a very intense game. It's a Wankhede, yes, not like Chennai. The ball will come on, so we'll expect some fireworks right at the beginning. And if Prithvi Shaw, and we're not giving much importance to Stoinis. I mean, Stoinis is one cricketer. He can leave a big mark on this game. And Gurkirat, if I remember, Virat used to rave about Stoinis, and he was, he called him once. I remember, he said the best all-rounder in the world, and he can really slug the ball, and he's much underrated for all his contributions. Last season, last IPL, he left a mark, no doubt about that. So let us hope Rahane does well, because Rahane has always been underrated, and even at test matches, if you see, he had to sit out many games which he ought to have played by right, and he has played some fabulous innings. And this, I really feel sorry for him, because Australia, the turnaround happened only because of Rahane's 100 at Melbourne, and he doesn't get the credit for it. If he had not batted that day, India would have finished, lost the second test also, and the series would have taken a very different course. So I want Rahane to do well, and Tom Karan, yes, he has played below par, but expect him to come good at some point, because when you watch him, see, this selection would have been based at how he has been performing in the nets, and responding to what the team management wants from him at the nets. He must be trying out particular deliveries which did not work out in the last game, but I'm sure we might see a different Tom Curran, and definitely I want Rahane to be a very different batsman tonight.
Yeah, we mustn't forget Rahane's one of the best test batsmen India produced for some time. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not convinced with T20. I'm sorry. BJ, with all due respect, I do understand what you're saying, but that is test cricket, not T20. My crystal ball says that BJ can be wrong on occasions, rarely, but there are moments in the dark recesses of my so-called crystal ball that say you are occasionally wrong.
I'm always happy to be proven wrong. There is no, I have no inhibitions about myself, but tonight you are going to be proven wrong, and your
is that right?
crystal
Is
ball.
that right? I'm gonna check my 11 circle whether there's a thing where I can bet against VJ. I can bet against Laxman, Dada, and other people, but your name's not up there. Maybe we should say my 11 circle, make a bet against VJ contest on this channel. And of course, as soon as I say the word my 11 circle, the thing comes up. Exactly. Now, let me just, while we've got that up, we might just go through this. Don't forget, you can win 1 crore rupees as a first prize. You can beat VVS Laxman and maybe even VJ, we're not sure, and get a chance to win 5 times the cash. Download now and get 1,500 rupees, joining bonus, and 20% extra cash. Hurry, make your team now. Get this app. This fantasy app is fantastic. I believe that this is our winner, my 11 circle. Now, VJ, every time I say that man with the muscle, who's that representing? Is that you, Gil? Is that you standing there with the muscle like this in the picture?
I think I look better than that.
Oh, jeez.
The turban makes you look much better. Anyway, I had one thing to add on what Vijay sir was saying about Marcus Stoinis. He's completely right about the utility that he brings. I think that the kind of batsman Marcus Stoinis is, his position also, best batting position is also batting in the top 3. So if you see that Delhi don't need someone like an Ajinkya Rahane or Steven Smith in their best 11, because if say a Shikhar Dhawan gets out early, they can send a Shiman Atmaya to bat at 3. If Prithvi Shaw gets out early, they can send a Marcus Stoinis to bat at 3. So they have enough options in that 11 itself to cover up for a early loss of wicket, and then you can have someone like a Rishabh Pant at 4, and whosoever is not batting at 3, you can have that person at 5. So they can have a very fluid middle order with Hetmeyer, Pant, and Stoinis, which would have been the best case. And at number 6 and 7, you can have Lalit Yadav along with Chris Wokes, which again adds a lot of diversity, because to hit spin, you can send in the Lalit Yadav, and if you want someone to hit pace, you can send a Chris Wokes or promote him. So there would have been enough variety and flexibility in that batting order itself had they kept the same 11 which we had discussed.
Okay, Nikhil, you mentioned 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 5. My calculator's not good enough to keep all that information in one go. I'll have to work on that. But anyway, my 11 circle will tell all today. I think my crystal ball should have the labeling my 11 circle on the bottom here. I'm sorry, I think mine's a little bit better. Mine predicts better than that. So, all right, we've got only a matter of 10 minutes before the match. I'm getting excited. I'm a Delhi Capitals fan. By the way, Siddharth, I'm a KK. I'm more soft. I'm more appreciative of KKR, but I think it's Delhi Capitals year. After coming last, third, second, What's the next number in that sequence, Siddharth? Let's see how
The
mathematical you are.
title. The title.
Exactly.
Number one. Number
Exactly.
one. And they have the potential, and it's just a question of everybody clicking. We want a new winner. I mean, let's make one thing very clear. We are fed up of one team dominating at every regular intervals. We want a new team. We want a new title winner. Delhi Capitals could have done it, but that collapse in the final killed them. If they can get over that, if they have their heads sorted in team composition and everything else, they will win the title. It's as simple as that.
But you're from Noida in Mumbai. I don't believe you. You're going to say Mumbai Indians every time. Let's be honest. Come on.
I'm an all Indian. I was born in Mumbai, so there will be some affiliation for that.
Okay. Vijay, who's going to win today?
I want to. No, I agree with. He wants a new winner, but then you have to play well to be a new winner. It's well said. Everybody would like to have a new winner, but what do you do? Mumbai Indians has a very balanced team, and before that, CSK. Look at Chennai; they used to be the most consistent team. And last IPL, they were an embarrassment to the fans. But I was just going through these pre-match comments. A very interesting one from Rishabh Pant. I'll just quickly read it out. He says, the team that plays well will win. I mean, I'm just wondering, what is he trying to say? The team which plays well will win, which is obvious. I mean, it is always the team which plays well that wins. So he has a few things in mind, and they're going to try out a few things tonight. I don't know what the tactics would be, but I have a feeling that Delhi Capitals is going to experiment, and Lalit Yadav is part of it, and he might. They're looking to see if he has a bigger role to play. It'll be lovely to watch Rabada in action, because he bowls to take wickets in a T20 game, which is why I like him. I mean, he is not the one bowler. He's not a bowler who will bowl to escape a shot from the batsman. He takes them on just like Jofra Archer. Archer also wants to take wickets. He is not going to bowl. He is not going to try an over of 4 runs. No, he'll give away 10 runs but take 2 wickets in that over. So such bowlers are always good to watch, and I hope Gurkira, Siddharth, and Norman, we get to watch a good game tonight.
Absolutely.
I'm certainly going to watch a good game. Just a couple of things I need to include. Chris Vernon, who's a part of my show on Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koshnak and a part of our show, had his debut match today at Lords. He opened the batting for MCC South, Marylebone Cricket Club South, against Marylebone Cricket Club North. He scored 53 opening innings, hit a 6 to start his innings, and apparently hit a 6 to finish his innings. I'm afraid I have to put up with him gloating on Friday when he returns. Heaven help me, he'll be gloating, because I'm normally the one that gloats, because I have scored runs and taken wickets on the SCG, MCG, nursery ground. I'm truly a champion, but I'm afraid Chris Vernon has one up me now, hitting 50 at Lords. So there you go. And in Australia, we have New South Wales versus Queensland. Gil, are you aware of that? New South Wales played Queensland?
Yeah, I follow the Australian domestic circuit a little bit, but I really don't know, about the records and everything of Sheffield Shield. But I know which players from where. I have a slight idea of it. I know the teams that are there, but I really don't. If you were to ask me who won the Sheffield Shield or the Tasmania Cup, that I would be able to tell.
Well, you won't need to know any more than the fact that it's day one of New South Wales versus Queensland at Allan Border Field. Queensland are slightly in ascendancy at the moment. I think there was some New South Wales were out for 143, which sounds shocking. Queensland won for 58. I believe, future Australian captain Jason Sangha looked fantastic. Go and watch Jason Sangha bat. He drives beautifully. VVS Luxman all over again, but he played a very poor cut shot. Got out for 20. I'm a New South Wales fan. They had the bowling strength of Hazelwood, Stark, Lyon, and Abbott.
If I'm not wrong, Jason Sangha was the under-19 captain of the 2018 Australian side, right?
Absolutely.
The one that lost to India in the final. I had to add that.
Did you have to add that? Did I ask you to add that?
Yeah, I had to add that. Yeah. Because India won, I had to add that. Had India lost, then I wouldn't have.
But hang on. Prithvi Shaw played in that match, did he not? And so did Shubman Gill. Okay,
Yeah.
but
But
Shubman Gill
the
has
centurion
performed.
was Manjot Kalra. Manjot Kalra was the centurion. He was the highest scorer.
Right. But see, Gill played that game. Okay, he's went on to play Test cricket. Prithvi Shaw's batting form in the senior ranks, well, he's a bit to be desired. He's needing to show now that he's capable of being there. But Jason Sangha should be there. Anyway, so that's my update from other places. Of course, Pakistan walloped South Africa, didn't they? Heavens. Baba Azam now is ranked number 1 in the world.
He celebrated that in style.
Yeah.
Amazing.
1,200-day reign of Virat Kohli ends.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be for very long now. I think Virat will come back pretty quickly.
And just to rub salt into Indian wounds, Babar Azam has done something what the Fab Four could not ever do: score a T20I century. Neither of Root, neither Williamson, neither Smith. No one has a century. Even Kohli doesn't have a T20I century.
But see, you're totally right. But you know what? If they want to score centuries in T20 cricket, they're going to have to open. They have to open, in my opinion. That's why Virat Kohli's made a smart move. He played in that position against England, and now he's doing it for RCB. That's the difference. Yes,
Absolutely.
No, at the peak of their career, this Fab Four would have scored more than a century in T20. I mean, their skills at picking gaps, the strokes which they had in their at their disposal, they were fabulous. That is why they were Fab Four, and they would make a mockery of the opposition in Test matches. So T20. Siddharth, it will be very unfair to compare to say that the Fab Four didn't score a test because they were not playing T20. I mean, if the T20 was there in year 2001 or 2002 or 2003, Fab Four would have murdered the bowlers. So
absolutely.
Let us, but Babar is an amazing talent. I mean, you have to give it to him. He's probably this era's one of the finest we are going to see.
One of the finest, absolutely.
Just wanted to show you this book here. Magnificent.
Steve Waugh.
It says
Legend.
Steve Waugh, The Spirit of Cricket India. A photographic expose. It is bloody heavy. It is very heavy. But it's magnificent. It has magnificent photos. I look at it all the time. I love India. He loves India. We're on the same page there. You can't get... There's the famous commercial, Incredible India. I agree with that. All right.
Norman, is that a
What are you
gift?
gonna
Is
try?
that a gift? Is that a gift from Steve Waugh?
Well, he did sign it. He did sign it. I went to a book launch. It certainly is from Seymour, yes. He's a very, very, very good man. He's a local Sydneyite. He's often he spends time with clubs, and he's given me a bit of a signature. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look. Open it up. Oh, it's so heavy. There it is. Just to show you there, you can see very clearly.
Wow.
He says to me, to Norman, I always thought you were the best batsman, Steve Waugh. What can I say? It's what he wrote. Pity you can't see it on the screen. It's a bit blurry, but that's exactly what it said. Trust me.
Nice one, nice one.
Gil, do you believe me? Gil, I don't think you believe me.
I believe you. I'm looking forward to play a match against you and get you first or second ball.
We'll see about that. We'll see about that. I play this beautiful slog sweep. Are you a spinner, Vijay?
I used to bowl seam, good. I had a good wrist position always, and I could fox you with one which comes in. You wouldn't know
right?
which was. You couldn't pick the one which leaves you or comes in.
Is that right? Is that right? Is that right? They're fighting words, They're fighting words. Don't you do that?
I think Vijay sir is saying that he'll be Bhuvneshwar Kumar and you will be Aaron Finch.
Gil, that's almost funny. Almost funny. That's almost funny. All right, guys.
Kirat, dekho, my wrist is still very, very, very well positioned to get Norman.
Yes.
There'll be a day of reckoning. My crystal ball says Norman not out 147. That's my crystal ball says. All right, we've got to go. We've got a game to watch. It's great to have you guys again. This is Norman Kostek saying goodbye to Siddharth, Gil and VJ, magnificent guests, co-hosts, protagonists, whatever you want to call each other. Wonderful. This is Norman Crossley signing off from Extra Time. Stay tuned. Post-match, we're back again right after the game. Enjoy a great game between these two great sides. Delhi Capitals, Rajasthan Royals. All the best.
Thank you very much.